Welcome to Simply Stylish DIY, where we take ordinary to extraordinary. Dollar Tree Strainer Fall Pumpkin DIY. Supplies you'll need for this DIY are one of the strainers from Dollar Tree. It's about 12 inches tall. You also need some ribbon of your choice, a bag of, or about 3 or 4 little small pumpkins, and a couple pine cones, some of the wire jute at Dollar Tree. Also, you'll need a foam board, a cutter for that, pencil, and also some burlap. We're going to start this DIY off using this strainer. I picked this one up at Dollar Tree. They have two different sizes. This is the larger of the two. So we're going to take it. We need some sort of backings. I'm going to use a piece of foam board. You can also pick this up at Dollar Tree. I cut this piece of foam board down into a square. I'm going to use my self-healing mat to cut this out. First of all, I'm going to put the strainer down on it and then take my pencil and make a circle around the edges, and then we're going to take a X-Acto knife and cut that out. After we have our circle drawn here on the foam board, I'm going to take the X-Acto knife and go around the edges of the circle. You could go a little bit to the inside, but don't go too far because you want it to be pretty much an exact fit to the back side of the strainer. So it's going to fit and hold in all of our goodies that we're going to put in just a minute. Once you have your circle cut out, just put the strainer over that to make sure that everything fits, and you don't need to do any trimming around the edges. I picked this roll of burlap up at Walmart. If you don't want to use this, you could use anything here to cover your piece of foam board. You could use felt, a roll of material. You could paint it if you don't want to cover it with anything. I should have probably done that, but I didn't think of it at the time. But this way you can just have more of a rustic look with the burlap. Okay, next, since I didn't think about doing the painting, we're going to cover it here with the burlap. I'm going to take it and I want to make sure the edges are covered too, and since it's not wide enough, I want to make sure that I have all the edges of the circle covered in case you see it from the side. So I'm just going to cut enough piece off so I can cover one side of it, then I'm going to flip it around and do the other side. So I'm going to put the hot glue on the edge of the burlap and just pull that up onto the circle piece of foam and hold it until it dries. Go ahead and turn it around and do the same thing to the other side, just putting the hot glue on the edge and flipping it up onto the foam board too. Kind of pull it taut so you don't have any kind of loose edge at the front, and make sure that you have it glued down as well. If you pull the two side pieces first and then just press it down there in the center, it folds nicely. Flipping it over, I seen that the edges were a little bit poofy, so I'm going to just pull those a little bit taut and glue those before I continue to put the other piece on. Next, I'm going to repeat the same steps, doing that to the other side, just so I have good coverage on all the area of the edges of the circle. And I wanted to make sure that if I was going to use this to sell or to gift, I wanted to have the back of it look good too. Here I could have put a piece of felt to cover it, but I thought I had this extra burlap. I will just cut me a little bit of a circle out of it and hot glue that on the back just so it doesn't leave that bare spot in the center in case somebody ever flips it over and looks at the back. I just wanted to have it more covered and finished. If I was going to keep this for myself, I would have omitted this step and just hung it up or put it on my shelf how I was going to do it, but I thought it looked better to finish off the back. Next, we're going to start on the side we're going to work on and make sure that that does fit. Once you have it covered up, press your screen down so you have it opened up and it's not been mashed flat. Now we're going to start working on what we're going to put in it. I found these little pumpkins on clearance last year at Hobby Lobby. They come in a little bag. I thought they'd be a perfect size to fit here in the middle. So I'm going to take a couple of the little velvet orange ones, one of the little pine cones, and one of the white looking creamy colored pumpkins, and then I'll top it off with a little pine cone at the top and cram it all in there. The screen's kind of loose, so you can press it down. Just don't press it too hard so it kind of pops out. Make sure that you like how it looks with like the pumpkin stems and things, that they're not poking through or turned wrong. And then decide if you want to put anything else in it for filler. I thought I had this extra hula skirt piece that I used in the previous DIY. I thought that would be cute to go ahead and use it some of the filler just so it can stick through and have a little bit more of a rustic look to this craft. So I'm just going to tuck it in here between the pumpkins and the pine cone, and then also that way you won't even see the back too much unless the light shines through it. Just make sure when you have all your inserts put in that you press them in nice and tight, and then make sure that they're not pooching out the back side, so when we go to put on the piece with the burlap, it's not pressing it and pushing it off. Now we're going to attach that round to the back side of that. So I'm going to take my hot glue and just take it around the main edge of that, and then when we take it and flip it over, it's going to glue it there to the piece of silver metal circle around the strainer. Just make sure you have enough glue, but not too much that it runs off the edges or in the middle. It's going to be covered regardless, but you just don't want to have that big gobs to have to work with and burn yourself. Just be careful when you flip it over that that glue don't get on your hand and burn you, because it's very hot. Once you flip it over, hold it really tight and make sure you have good connections on the rim of your strainer and also your piece of burlap. Holding it tight, make sure that you have a good connection. If you don't, like here I have a little bit of space, just run some hot glue in there and then take your fingers and just pinch it together, and it will make good adhesion to that and hold tight. Once you have everything tucked in, everything's glued together, I'm going to take this piece of jute, and just to give it more of a finished edge look, I'm going to take it and make it go all the way around, and then that way you can see that instead of the burlap. So just put a little hot glue between the burlap backing and the strainer, just to give it that finished edge, and take it all the way around from the top all the way to the other side. We're just going to do this in sections, probably do about maybe 4 to 5 inches, and just keep going around until you finish it. Once you get back to the handle there, go ahead and snip that off. Put some hot glue behind it, because we're going to be putting a bow there, so it's going to be all covered, so you don't have to have it nice and neat. If you don't want it to be, just hold that little piece up, put glue in the back, and hold it down. Next, we're going to wrap our handle. So I'm going to use like this medium-sized twine that I have in my stash. I had a little bit thinner, and I thought about using it and kind of crisscrossing it, but I thought it would be prettier to just take it and wrap it all the way to the top, like one strand at a time instead of crisscrossing. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to pinch it together with some hot glue to make sure I have it started at the base, and then I'm just going to take it and start wrapping it and stacking it on top of each other. All the way up. Ever so often I'm going to put just a little dab of glue to make sure that it doesn't start coming loose, and then you can see in just a minute I'm going to do that after I get it here on the neck part of it and get to the handle itself. I'm going to put glue on the back side and just keep wrapping it all the way to the top. If you would rather crisscross it, that's perfectly fine too. I just did this method. Once I get to the top, I'm just going to hold it here with my thumb, put some hot glue there, and do the same thing, just wrapping it until you get it to just a single piece, and then just take your finger and tuck that in. Just be careful since it's so hot. Once you get to the main top there and you have that one single piece left, just go ahead and snip that with your scissors and take your finger and push that down in that little bitty hole, and you will not be able to see the handle at all, and you'll have good coverage with your twine. Next, I'm just going to make a really quick bow. I picked this ribbon up at Sam's last year. I thought it would be a really pretty base, and then I'm going to take some of this orange plaid that I got at Joann and just make a multi-loop bow with it. I'm going to take a pipe cleaner here and tie it off. I accidentally picked up pink out of my box of stash of pipe cleaner, but you're not going to be able to tell that anyhow. I'm going to tie it off really tight, and we're going to cover that up. Make sure you keep your tails on the pipe cleaner, because we're going to use that to tie around the neck of the strainer in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and just open my loops up to see how I want them to lay before I put it onto our DIY, and therefore I can add some embellishments to our bow. After I have it fluffed up, I'm going to take those little pipe cleaner tails and tie it around the back side. Just twist it several times, and then you're going to take a pair of scissors and snip those ends off and just tuck them around, making sure that it's tied on tight. Next, I wanted to take the tails and position them the way I wanted those. I'm going to take them and just fold my ribbon over and dovetail the ends of both. But first, I'm going to work on this brown glittery ribbon first because I wanted those tails to come over to the side instead of just hanging down loosely because I didn't want it to block our pumpkins inside. So I'm just going to make a little poof loop here and then take that tail and hold it up a little bit instead of gluing it down straight. And this way you can see the little dovetails, you can have a little poof loop, and you can also see the pretty ribbon. And now we're going to repeat on the other side. Just put a little dab of glue there on the edge and make sure that you make a little poof loop here at the top so it's just not gluing it straight down to it. Take it, scrunch it up there on the hot glue, and then that way you can see your little dovetails at the end too. Next, I'm going to take this orange plaid ribbon here in the center. I wanted to make it just a little bit shorter so it didn't block all of our goodies inside of our strainer. So I'm going to take it and cut it off probably about 2.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and dovetail that, and then I'm going to just take my fingers and kind of scrunch it up here so it can just hang loosely on the strainer without blocking anything and giving it that really pretty pop of color. Instead of using raffia for this, I did use the leftover Hula skirt pieces that I had from the last DIY. I'll link that video at the end of this one so you can check it out if you haven't watched it. But I thought that would be really cute to tuck it in with the pumpkins. So I wanted to also add that to my bow, but I didn't want to put it in until the end because I wasn't sure I was going to use it. So I'm going to take a piece of that pipe cleaner that I had left over and take the little piece of hula skirt. I wanted to see how long I wanted to make it. So I'm just going to grab a little gob here, tie it off at the top, and then you'll have that to put up underneath the bow. And then you can use those tails from the pipe cleaner to take it around to the back side and tie that off where we tied the bow. So go ahead and take it underneath it. And then you're going to take it through it and flip it over, grab those tails, and just twist it off in the back like you did. Then you're going to take your scissors and clip those extra pieces off and tuck it around. And then just take your scissors and trim that off at the end to make sure it's just not hanging down too long. Next, I went through my button stash, and I thought it would be really cute to stick a button here in the middle. If you don't want to do that, you can take your fingers and just kind of crunch the bow up in the center so it doesn't show. But I thought this would be cute to open it up there and take this little button. I wanted to make a little bit darker in the center. I thought, well, I could use my distressed oxide and make the button darker, but then I saw this little wood button and I thought it would be adorable to glue it here in the middle. So I'm going to take it, glue it inside of the bigger button, and it fit perfectly. And then that way I have two different colors of brown like in the ribbon, and I'm going to flip that over and hot glue it here in the center of the bow. If you didn't want to do that, but you did want to put something in the center, you could take a little bit of the raffia or the hula skirt and tie a little bow like you're tying your shoes and glue that in the middle too, and that would be adorable as well. And to finish everything off, I picked up this wire jute at Dollar Tree. I thought this would be really cute to take and almost make like little twigs coming up out of the pumpkin top, like a little pumpkin stem. So I thought I would take it, wrap it around my finger. I could have used a pencil here or a dowel, but I just wanted to make bigger loops. So I'm just going to wrap it around my finger here, kind of untwist it and make it kind of haphazardly. Come over about 1.5 to 2 inches and do the same thing. I'm just going to wrap it around my finger. I wanted to leave it one big long piece so I could just take it and wrap it around the handle of the strainer instead of having to wire it together and glue it on and all that around the bow. So I kind of made it like two little rabbit ears here. So I'm going to take it and snip it off. I did put a little dab of hot glue so it didn't come off since it is the jute. So I want to make sure that I had the loops the way I wanted them. And once I had those the size that would work, I'm going to take it and go in behind it and put it on the strainer handle and then twist it. And then that way it looks like you have little pumpkin stems coming out the side. Just crisscross it tight there in the back. If you want to add a dab of hot glue so it doesn't move, that would be perfectly great to do here too. Just take your fingers and position those out to the side, just like a little pumpkin sprouting. I just thought I'll tie it in really pretty together. Okay, here's our finished product on this one. I hope you enjoyed this fun and easy DIY. You could add so many different things to the inside and make this your own personal creation. When I saw this at Dollar Tree yesterday, the strainer, I thought this would be so cute to do this. My husband and daughter had no idea what I was talking about. I'm like, I'm going to fill this up with pumpkins and make it cute fall DIY. So I hope you enjoyed how this one turned out, and let me know in the comments below if you're going to try it. I enjoyed our time together. Thanks for watching. I linked another video here for more crafting inspiration. Be sure to check it out. Have a great day.